G'day. It's Stefan Angelini. It's the 7th of Feb, 2023. Let's try and get out this market update. If you're watching this on a video, you'll see a Nathan Buckley jersey over my shoulder. I'm sorry, but he's a legend of the game, and you're going to look at it the entire time. To start off with markets around the world, everything was pretty much down. The Aussie market, US market, European market, and the Asian market, but it wasn't by too much. Nothing really to worry about. But what I will take you to is just main news around Australia. You'll notice that the RBA cash rate may increase tomorrow at the Reserve Bank when they have their monthly meeting. Now, 95% of 44 panelists, so 42 out of 44 economists, are predicting a rate increase. And a lot of them, actually 91% of those, are predicting a 0.25% increase. So that will take the cash rate to 3.35%. Now, importantly, of those 44, 75% of them are saying that they expect rates to get to at least 3.75%. So that is 3 more 0.25% rate hikes from here. So we'll see what happens. But basically, Australians are feeling it pretty hard with the average household debt or mortgage at $600,000. It means Australians are already paying $11,000 more a year. So they need to find more money to stump up their mortgage rates. Now, let's look at the Australian government, and the May budget is going to be a pretty hard one. But basically, punters are saying that do not try to do anything in the budget unless it's putting more money back in people's pockets. So the government is under extreme pressure, but basically some things that are already announced is that they are putting $3 billion into reducing people's power bills. They're not putting money back in your pocket this time. They are trying to reduce your power bills. But importantly, they've already announced that they are increasing the job seeker rate by $25 a day. So from $48 to $73 a day. So if you multiply that by 7, that is an extra $175 a week for people on job seeker. You might be thinking, why will people go back and get a job? But they're saying with the rising inflation, they don't want people going into poverty. So you'll see those people get pumped up with extra money. Looking at stocks within Australia, and some big news. Newcrest Mining had a takeover bid from a big international player, which pumped up their share price. And they were the massive performer on the day. If you look at some, Macquarie has a rating agency, and their rating agency is basically taking a big bet on gambling stocks. They like gambling stocks basically because they say that gambling revenues are pretty resilient, especially in downturns. History does tell us that they just keep going up. If you look at a chart that they've got in this article on Livewire Markets, they're basically just showing that during the big global disruptions like the GFC, there is a short downturn in gambling revenues by US casinos, but pretty much they just keep going up year on year on year. Now, if you're a buy now, pay later sector lover, you're going to hate this, but an OpenPay is a buy now, pay later provider. They are collapsing. The receivers have been called in. Just goes to show that sometimes just because something is the new shining light sector, don't really need to rush into it. Just see how it plays out. And the buy now, pay later sector is just an extreme circumstance of that shiny syndrome of people trying to make a quick buck. If you are debt lovers and you have ever heard of a hybrid is a bank-issued debt or a debt issued by an ASX-listed company. Basically, ANZ have now released a note that an offer that they're going to take over an existing holding, but also offer more debt to the market. So they're taking over an ANZ PF holding that had a 3.6% margin above the RBA cash rate, which is pretty high. So we're waiting to see what their new issuance will be, but it's a great way to earn income, especially if these payments come through fully franked as well. So hybrids are in huge demand at the moment because of that increased cash rate. Let me take you to economic news around the world. Now, Janet Yellen, who is the US Secretary Treasurer, has said that she doesn't expect the US to go into a recession, especially on the back of the 53-year low unemployment rate. What she basically says is that when you've got $500,000 new jobs and the lowest unemployment rate in 50 years, how can you expect the economy to go into recession when inflation is also decreasing? So she's quite bullish on it. But then again, an article on CNN has just said that Dell is laying off more than 6,500 employees pretty soon. So that will add more jobs back to the market, and that might mean their unemployment rate might not be so low. As we keep looking around, if you're keen on the Russia-Ukraine story and want to know more about what's happening with Russia, there's now marked nearly 12 months since the Ukraine issue. And so Russia has released its budget figures, and they're basically saying that the revenue for Russia has fallen sharply in January compared to last year. So it's down 35% lower to last year, mainly around the lower revenue they're getting from oil and gas, which is down 46%. So we'll see how that plays out, if it can cripple their financial and economy enough. Will there be a move on their war in the Ukraine and the war against the Western world? We'll see. If you are in skyscrapers and you're worried about people not coming back to work, especially with this resurgence resurgence in people working from home, there is news that WSP, which is a global engineering firm, big employer, is converting some skyscrapers and part of skyscrapers and empty office space into data centers. So that might be a bit of a change in how these big skyscrapers are used. So watch this space. There's always plenty of use for them. Now, heading to crypto news. So if you are an NFT holder, so you hold some of that digital art, did you know that there has been record amounts of borrowing and leveraging these NFTs to get more cryptocurrency? So just to let you know that there's an article on the Markets Insider that there was a total of 4,399 loans totaling 18,000 Ether tokens dispersed in January. So that's a huge increase on loans using these NFTs as security. Look, I didn't really even know you could do this, but turns out you can. And a lot of people are taking advantage of it to borrow more crypto in order to make purchases, whatever they want to do. So that's a little bit of a wrap up to end with a bit of crypto. Now I'm off to Red Hot Chili Peppers tonight. So wish me luck. If I'm doing this tomorrow, my voice might not be great. I don't know any of their songs, but I'm sure I'll try and cheer along anyway. All right. Thanks a lot.